So today was an interesting day. First I called the customs for my iHerb delivery because they had decided that it's bringing in something illegal. So they had taken something away and I didn't know what it was because I didn't check the product list so thoroughly. Apparently what they had removed from the package was aspirin, because I didn't have a prescription for aspirin. If I go here in Finland into the store, I can get aspirin up to, I don't know what it, 500 milligrams per pill, and these were 85 milligrams per pill, so they were ridiculously small amounts. But because female, which is the authority to give permissions to sell stuff like that, they have decided that this is a drug, so we shall I shall not be able to bring it into the country. Duh. Let's have some more bureaucracy. But yeah, they need to do as they're instructed, no two ways about it. But still it feels a bit stupid. Then another interesting thing was that I got a call from my old workplace stating that, would you be interested in participating in a project? And I have not, because we're all fully employed, so I have now gotten one person who would be able to fill one of the roles in the project, which is not bad for a day's effort. And yeah, I'm hoping that we can manage something. It's funny because we're 2 or 3 actual 4 then, or we used to be 2 small companies that provided document related services, but now just this spring other one of these 2 small houses, they called it quits because their ownership structure was so that it was 50-50, and then the other guy just said that I don't want to do this anymore, I'm quitting, which then led to all sorts of unpleasantness, and they had to end their business. But yeah, one of the guys now that I called, and he was interested in joining us because we're fully booked employed at the moment, so it's very tricky for us to jump out. And then I've been looking at a couple of other things which are interesting. First one I want to mention is I saw some MS patient's blog post how I got my medication for free, and I guess they were celebrating that they actually got their medication for free. I live in Finland and I would get my medication for free if I would start asking for it, but I'm of the opinion that they would have to pay me to put that stuff in me. I think no money would cover the cost. There was an English study called The Scheme, where the English, this is now off the top of my head, hearsay, in the sense that I looked it up and now I'm trying to recall what they said. The idea being that the NHS decided in England, yes, we'll compensate to you the drugs with the percentage that they make our patients well. In this study scheme, they ended up in the result that the medical company would have had to pay NHS to have their drugs listed, which is, yeah, how it goes. I haven't felt so bad as I did the first Monday and Tuesday, but still, when I walk, my walking is a bit, it's not kind of straight. Oh yeah, the other thing was, as I said, I spend my time online. I work, I program on a computer, but at the same time I listen to different authors and scientists and people who do investigations, and one of these guys, he was of the opinion that all autoimmune diseases are caused by viruses, and the viruses are introduced into us by vaccinations. Don't know if that's true or not, but what was quite appalling to me was that material in vaccinations contain DNA from aborted fetuses. That was just... And there was actually a paper pointing at some drug administration website where they talk about these things that, yeah, this Roe versus Wade court case, that it wasn't about the women's rights or anything like that. The actual case was about whether medical companies could harvest embryos and do their work on those. I'm appalled at how sick the world we live in is.
When the rain is blowing in your face,
I tried to take a picture or video of the pond that we live by in one of my last videos in it, and it didn't quite work. I was down on the patio there, and it just, I don't know why, but I was standing there and it didn't quite end up as a good, and this is a tree that we would like to get knocked down, but the chairman of the board of this housing complex is in love with it, so there's a slim chance that we'll ever get it knocked down. It has been a sad day. Maybe it's just that I've moved or walked about and noticed my symptoms more, but somehow my condition has gotten to me more than maybe other days. I had a little cry in the car because a neighbour, she was moving and she struck up a conversation, and then I ended up in the conversation that hopefully it's to your liking, talking about the new apartment that she, and I got in my car and drove away, and suddenly I got this overwhelming feeling that, yeah, I hope that something in my life would be to my liking. But I've been squeezed a bit too hard for a bit too long, and it's getting to me. And again, I constantly remind myself that others have it horribly worse, and I have a hope in eternity where I get a new body. It's not a bad hope. About this day, I looked at different videos regarding filmmaking, and now I'm trying out. This is the first footage on my new Canon, I think that's in focus, Canon 50mm lens. I watched a review of a guy walking back and forth with this particular lens and the autofocus. This STM one, it works beautifully on it. But my frame, my D60, it doesn't support it. So I'm guessing in a jam that I need to invest in a new frame, and then I'm thinking the body of the camera. So now I'm thinking that I would go for a full frame camera, but those are fairly expensive. But the 70D, which is the next version of 60D, it's in Finland, it's €1,000. But the good thing about this one, it has 1.8 aperture, whereas the previous one I used to take this one, it's 60mm. It's a lot more robust feeling, the lens, and it's than this. This is I think one of the cheapest lenses that Canon does, but the aperture is quite nice. This has a 2.8 on it, so it's quite a bit better. I bought it even though I knew that this doesn't support the autofocus functionality in video mode. That's why I was wondering. I have a square around my face, so it detects me, but it doesn't do the focusing. So now maybe a new frame or a body for the camera. Don't know. The whole work week, it has now been 4 days. That's a Thursday. First Monday I thought that I cycled too hard and but no, I have symptoms that are less than pleasant.
And there is no one there to dry your tears.
Not the most pleasant work weeks. Let's say during the holiday, when it was just sitting down, taking it very easy and doing cycling, I was feeling quite alright. But now, going to work and working, I feel that my symptoms are slightly more pronounced, or I'm more aware of them, which is not a pleasant feeling. I haven't felt good this week. But then again, if we look at numbness, none of that. Fatigue, not in the sense that it has been at its worst. But for example, today we went lunch to Jumbo, and it was a buffet, and I was holding a plate, just like you hold a plate, and putting stuff on it, and thing that I would never have considered that it would cause me any difficulty. I was starting to wonder, do I have the strength to hold the plate upright? I was feeling discomfort in holding this plate. It's just a horrible feeling. Watched a couple of videos regarding MS and how does one contract it, and one of the given reasons for it was that it's vaccinations, and I've just one story about vaccinations. A couple of years ago we had this swine flu epidemic going around the world, and there was just an absolutely massive fear campaign that you might die if you get this, and please do get yourselves vaccinated. And they put out this vaccination in the span of 2 or 3 weeks, maybe 4. Members of the family who were adamant about getting the vaccination, but I put my foot down and said that it's no way any medical company can put out a vaccination in 3 weeks. It's just impossible. And I said that none of my kids will have this vaccination. Over my dead body will they have it. Well, we didn't take them. Only later did we discover that the people who had taken it, they, or not all of them obviously, but some of them, they contracted this sleeping disorder, narcolepsia it's called in Finnish, where you just fall asleep randomly anywhere, just destroying your entire life. And then this swine flu, it was like any other flu. Yeah, people die from it, but then again they die from normal flus. Just again an example of medical companies trying to invent a disease and come up with a cure, as they say, that will actually end up making you feeling or completely jeopardizing your health and safety. Yeah, one of these videos was that nowadays these drug companies, they can't even be sued for causing you bodily harm. They're hidden in behind some government agency, at least in America this was. But I bet even here in Finland, I think you had to go through some instance that it's criminal what they do. Medical companies, that is. But regardless of that, Jesus is King.